Shri Rama Jai Rama, Jai Jai Rama Om. 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Today we are going to talk what we know about Pujya Mataji. Everybody could feel that she is my Mataji. So she became the mother of everyone in the world. That was her love and concern for every visiting devotee. But only thing she expected was, in return, the expansion of our heart, expansion of our love, breaking the small circle and embracing wider and wider circles. When that was not forthcoming, she used to get very, very upset. And naturally, all the devotees, we can say with the exception of a very few, could not rise up to that level. So she had occasions to find fault and take people to task almost every day for their shortcomings. Like the main shortcomings were miserliness and hiding things. Instead of opening their heart, they would hide certain things for their own welfare. She would say, in front of the Guru, open your heart so that you will be free from all your evil habits. Otherwise, the evil habits will grow and you have no chance of becoming pure. So it is in front of the Guru that you should completely open your heart, and then you will be free from all the evil habits you are having. In spite of this, certain people had such strong ego, they would not bend down and say, oh, I am having all these bad habits with me. Please remove all these bad habits from me so that I may become pure and become eligible for God realization. That type of attitude she expected from everybody, as she herself had it. And she did not like people fighting among themselves, among the devotees especially. Instead of foreseeing petty faults, they would quarrel. That she did not like at all. She would say, quarreling is all right, but quarrel with love. You may have difference of opinion, you may argue on the difference of opinion, but it should never lead to breaking the bond of your love. The love between you should remain intact, even if you have different opinion. That's what you used to say, you quarrel, but quarrel with love. That's not possible for everybody. That she used to practice that. She used to shout sometimes. Next moment she was as cold as cucumber. She is cold. No effect of the quarrel at all. The quarrel was to mend others. If we also do it with the same purpose, it is acceptable, but we don't do it. So things were going on, and Papa was going on tour very often from 1950, 52, 53, 54. 54 was the world tour, and again 55 there was no tour because the Silver Jubilee celebration was there. 56 January again started. At 57, that is our last tour. At that time it was thought that Papa should not travel anymore. So all the tour programs were stopped or rather cancelled, and he had to remain in the ashram. In 1963, or 62, end of 63, Papa had a mild heart attack. 62 maybe, very mild heart attack. And after a few days rest, he was back to normal health. The same year, Mataji developed severe diarrhea. For some days continuously, she had diarrhea. She became very weak. Somehow, by proper treatment, diarrhea was controlled, but soon after that, she developed a sort of a tumor on the neck. She was getting only homeopathy treatment, as no other medicine would suit her. We gave her homeopathic treatment, and when the principal of the medical college, Calicut, happened to come here soon after that, we asked him to see Mataji's condition. He heard the history of diarrhea and this tumor coming up. As soon as he saw the tumor on the neck, he started shedding tears. He didn't say a word after that. Then he called us aside and said, this is the secondary of some malignancy in the abdomen. Because there was no other symptoms except the history of diarrhea. Anyway, we decided to give it homeopathic treatment only. But the tumor was growing every day in spite of the treatment. Finally, Dr. Hugo, an American doctor, who was in Anandashram at that time, came here and took charge of Mataji's treatment. Slowly, medicine acted favorably, and the tumor which had grown, say, like a tennis ball, started receding, as it were, as if sandpaper was applied on the top, as it is being gradually rubbed off. And at that time she could not take practically any food, any solid food. She became very, very weak. And in January, February 63, she was so weak that it was even difficult for her to walk about. Her weight was reduced to 50 pounds. But one thing, she would go and prostrate at Papa's feet before retiring every night. And when placing her head on his feet, she would pray for a few minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, Don't know what she prayed for. And Papa would place his hands on her head, blessing her. We also did not know what he blessed her with. We could not ask him, but we asked Mataji what she prayed for. She said she prayed for early release from the body. And if the prayer was granted, it was Papa blessing her to grant the prayer, but it must have been the opposite way. Because Papa did not grant that prayer. Because there is another reason also for it. She had two minds. One side, she thought she would drop the body soon. And she found that there was no use living anymore with this weak and emaciated body. Secondly, no real purpose has been served in her life in helping others, so there was no need to live any longer. At the same time, the other side of the mind said, if she left early, who will take care of Papa? That was the main problem for her. It was also right that nobody would be able to give so much care and attention in taking care of Papa's physical body. So she had half a mind this way and half a mind that way. Papa must have blessed her with a long life. All of you know that Mataji was a very active person. She was toiling day and night for serving the devotees whom she looked upon as manifestation of beloved Papa himself. So serving the devotees meant serving Papa. That was the way she was serving, with love and affection. In the early days of the ashram, there were no workers. At the same time, a few sadhakas joined the ashram. Mataji was anxious that they should fast progress on the path and attain realization when Papa was prepared to help them as much as possible. These sadhakas took instructions from Papa. Daily Papa met them and guided them on the path, and Mataji took care to see the physical comforts of those. They were sheltered properly, they were given proper food at the proper time, and they had nothing to worry about except to do sadhana as directed by beloved Papa. But unfortunately, they were not ready for the progress. Perhaps due to some bad company which they courted outside the ashram premises, or due to some other influence, their mind was pulled down and they started finding fault with the ashram activities, and what Papa did not please them. So they started, it was found necessary that they should go away from the ashram. One of them voluntarily left, others had to be sent away because of their activities which were not congenial for their own spiritual progress. And while serving them, Mataji was so careful that they should get the maximum benefit by their contact with Papa, and for that she was prepared to sacrifice anything. Can you imagine, she would cook food for them as they wanted. 4 people wanted different types of food, and she was prepared to give them hot food. And when they went for bath, she was even prepared to take hot water in a bucket, keep it near the bathroom. That much seva she did, but they could not digest all that was done. And the result was not a very happy thing. So from that time, Mataji decided that ashram is not a place for sadhana. People can come, stay for a few days, have the company of Papa and Mataji, and go back and practice what they learned from here in their own houses. She thought that would be the best thing for the sadhakas. From that time, she did not permit anybody to stay for long periods, except of course with a few whose services were necessary for the administration, for running the ashram. As a number of devotees grew gradually and more accommodation was necessary, and she was toiling day and night to see that maximum comfort was given to all the devotees. She did not like any of them to do physical work in the ashram, as she thought they should take more advantage of Papa's presence than doing something physical. Whenever anybody asked her to do something, of course, except in the first 1 or 2 years, she would tell them, it's better you sit with Papa and listen to what he says and try to practice what he teaches you. She was more pleased if people sat with Papa. But many devotees chose to be with her also as long as possible. Whenever she was sitting, she would be sitting around them and asking questions and talking about various things. And whenever she went out for work, they were also following her. She did not like it very much. She would say, go and sit with Papa. Coming with me and talking to me, you are not going to be benefited. What you need is Papa's presence and Papa's advice. So go and sit with Papa as long as possible. But they had their own way. Sometimes they would listen. If at all they would listen, they would go for half an hour or 1 hour and again come back to Mataji. Thus, days went on, and as I said yesterday, when Papa's Mahasamadhi took place, Mataji was in a very delicate health, and after that she had this heart attack. She gradually recovered, and from that time she had something or other attacking her very often. In 63, 64, the heart attack and the recovery, and soon after that she developed again diarrhea. She had loose motion for a long time, and no treatment could be effective. It was found that she had tubercular infection, and treatment was given for that. It was controlled. After some years, she developed infection in the lymphatic glands. That also must have been due to the tubercular infection. The lymphatic glands, all the glands used to get pus formed in them, used to give her severe pain. You can imagine behind the armpits and here, all joints, wherever the glands were, they were all inflamed and pus formed in them, giving her severe pain. She was bearing this very, very calmly. Though treatment was given, it took a very long time. Finally, she recovered, or at least we thought she was free from the infection. Later, in 76 or so, she developed sort of pain behind the back, that is neck, cervical vertebrae. She used to complain of the pain very often, and she was given some homeopathic medicines, but nothing worked, and the pain increased gradually. From her talk, we could not make out how severe it was, though treatment was being given. One Dr. Mani, who was in Coimbatore at that time, was regularly visiting the ashram and giving her the treatment, which was followed up by me later. And at that time, it was in 76 or so, Mataji advised me to observe Chaturmasa in silence. I stayed in this cottage, Guru Kripa. Was not to meet anybody. Food was served at the proper time. I was spending all the time in silence. Of course, I was anxious about Mataji's health, no doubt. After over 3 months, one day when I was looking out this side, I saw Dr. Krishnan Nair going to the ashram, Mataji's room. And later, say after an hour or so, coming back, then I suspected something was wrong with her health. And I sent a note to find out what was wrong with her health. The reply came written by somebody else. That doctor had come as she had stiffness all over the body and could not get up easily. So doctor was consulted. On hearing this, I sent a note to Mataji to permit me to break the silence and come to her. She agreed, though not very willingly. When I came out and saw her condition, it was appalling, terrible it was. Her body was stiff. Once she was in bed, she could not get up in the morning. 2 people from each side had to lift her with great difficulty. And after that, she could manage to move. And severe pain in the neck. So things were very, very bad. Immediately, we contacted some friends. Dr. Hugo was in Germany at that time. We contacted him and requested him to come, if possible, immediately. It was not necessary, later we found. Then we contacted our friends in Bombay. All our friends, most of the friends also came. And our friend Natul Bhai also came. Immediately we thought what should be done for the further treatment. We decided to call the doctors from Mangalore. Fortunately, they came willingly with a portable X-ray unit. When the X-ray was taken of the cervical vertebrae, we found that it has gone so bad that if neglected by 1 or 2 days, it would have created a very bad situation. She would have to remain like a vegetable, as the doctor put it. So immediately treatment was started. Fortunately for us, she could stand the treatment. Till then she could not stand even a small pill of the allopathic medicines like Disprin or Aspro. But from that time, she could take heavy dose of antibiotics, which continued for 18 months. No, 27 months after that. Gradually she regained her health and she was asked to use a collar, neck collar. She was advised to use a neck collar, but she was not for it. When people again and again told her, Mataji should use a neck collar, it will give a lot of relief, she would get angry. Women would say, I'm a dog or what? Then they would keep quiet. Finally, when the pain was too much to bear, he agreed and was using a collar for some time. And maybe for over a year she used it. And the health also gradually improved. Till 88 she was moving about in the ashram and things were going on as usual. In 88, one woman came to the ashram suddenly from Kasaragod. She came and sat near Mataji. First thing she said was, Mataji, I want to remain in the ashram permanently, in a very authoritative voice. Mataji said, no, we don't keep anybody permanently here. You may stay for a few days. No, nothing doing. I want to stay permanently. Then we had to interfere and tell her, it's not possible, don't argue with Mataji. Listen to what she says. No, I want to remain. That argument went on. Then she asked again, when Papa permitted Mataji to stay permanently, why not I be permitted? In such a way, the argument went on. We came to know, of course from the talk itself we could feel that he was normal, not normal. He was a little abnormal mentally. But she was a very healthy woman and could not be easily handled. We knew the situation was getting tense. We didn't want her to talk to Mataji. Then we came to know through some other friend that their relations were in Kasaragod. We telephoned to them. They came and somehow persuaded her to leave the place. These few hours' tension affected Mataji's health so much that night when she was about to go to bed, she said, "The war begins tomorrow. That's all. The war begins tomorrow." We couldn't understand what it was, nor did she explain. Next morning when we came to the ashram, to open her room, fortunately she had permitted somebody to sleep with her in that room. She could not get up from the bed. Her hip had become so weak that legs won't obey. Means she could not get up and walk. From that day she was in bed. So it was the beginning of the war, as she said. She was a person who never wanted any service from anybody. She would serve everybody, but didn't want to be served by anybody. But this condition, she had to depend upon everybody for everything, because she could not move her legs. And in that bedridden condition, she had to ask everybody to do what was necessary. Though it was very painful, somehow she took it cheerfully. This condition went on for 9 months. In end of 1988, she was feeling that though in the case of saints, everything was God, everything they saw was God, everything they thought of was God, she was feeling that God himself, or she would say Papa himself, came in some ferocious forms before her. Whenever she opened her eyes, she saw some ferocious forms were coming. And it was gradually getting worse. And she used to tell me, I used to give some homeopathic medicines also for such symptoms. Not helpful. One day she said, this is too much. I am not able to get rest. Do something for this. What should we do? She had faith in astrology, and she had experienced many times the effects of black magic. And she believed in those things also. She said, somebody is doing something to give me some disturbance. can find out from the astrologers and do something to prevent it. So we had 3-4 astrologers together here. It's called a session, 3-4 days lasting session. They found out very clearly, they said, there is somebody doing something against Mataji to take control of herself and the ashram afterwards. And that person was closely with Mataji and serving Mataji. But with this intention. Fortunately, that person was sent away a few months before this incident. But the effect had not gone. Before Mataji actually fell ill, she used to go to the bathroom for bath, and suddenly we would hear that she was falling down. A sudden spell of unconsciousness. Then we would ask from outside, what's the matter? Nothing serious, I just fell down, I'll get up, don't worry. This happened 3-4 times. This was one of the effects of the evil power used by that person. Anyway, we want to know how to get over that. They suggested some homas and all that. Everything was done to counteract the effect of such forces. Then Mataji was feeling better, free from those. Then I used to ask Mataji, we are using Ram Nam to counteract all evil forces. It can make a human being God. If that is the case, why should we have to depend upon these homas and other things to drive away such evil forces? So he said, it is all right. Ram Nam can take you to the highest goal of God realization. But these evil forces are also in the picture from the beginning of creation. And to remove them, certain methods are prescribed, and you have to follow them. Just like a person suffering from a particular disease is given a particular medicine, that alone will cure him. If you give him a general tonic, that may not help him. That way, Ram Nam is used for the highest experience, no doubt. But for these things, this is the medicine and you have to use them. Then also she added, those spiritual aspirants who are doing sadhana intensely, they can depend upon Ram Nam for anything they want. They will not be affected by anything because of the intensity of their sadhana. It's only for a short time. When they get established in God realization, they live like ordinary people and getting affected like ordinary people, though internally they are completely free. This is the explanation she gave. And at that time, though she was having excruciating physical pain, Whenever I went and asked her, Ami, how are you? She would say, I am all right. The body has pain, every limb of the body is paining, but I am quite happy and peaceful. That is the reply she was giving always. And she remained cool and calm. She never shouted, suffering from pain and all that. And on 11th February evening, somebody came to my room saying that Mataji was not responding to their call. She was calling them, she closing the eyes and keeping quiet. And I went and called her, Mataji, Amme. She opened her eyes. Said, shall I give you a cup of tea? Said, yes. And I got a cup of tea. She took a little by spoon. I give you some more? No. She slept. That night also she didn't take anything perhaps. Early morning, 5 o'clock, there were 3 or 4 workers who were constantly attending on her besides the ashram devotees. One of them gave her a small glass of Horlicks at about 5 o'clock. She took it. And when I went as usual at 6 o'clock, she had closed her eyes and was resting very peacefully. I sat by her side and called her, Amen. No response. Again, waited for some time. 6:45. I called her again. Amen. Amen. She opened her eyes, looked at me for some time, then closed her eyes. This was repeated once or twice. Finally, she stared at me for some time, then closed her eyes. Then hard breathing started. Three times. Close her eyes forever. It must have been about 7 o'clock in the morning, while Papa's Samadhi was 7 o'clock in the evening. She closed her eyes forever. It was a very, very peaceful end. She had given instructions that when she left the body should be cremated as soon as possible. Should not wait for any devotee to come. Though they may be informed, they should not wait for anybody to come. So immediately we arranged for the cremation. Sandalwood was brought from different places. The place selected here, the present mandir, everything was arranged. And cremation took place at about 11 in the morning, same time as Papa's in 63. She had given special instructions that her ashes should not be worshipped. As Papa's ashes were and she herself gave to everybody to keep in their lockets and also to keep in their puja rooms. But in her case, she said, nobody should be worshipping this, so dump all this in the... nothing should be preserved. Anyway, anything is preserved should be dumped in the Ganges or anywhere in the sea. So, when Papa's Samadhi took place, we had collected those ashes, and many devotees asked for the prasad, Mahaprasad we called it, to be kept in their puja rooms, or to make lockets out of them and wear it along with the chain. And she gave them whoever wanted. And when she was distributing them, she remembered one day and started shedding tears. I said, what is the matter? She said, when I was distributing something, say somebody had brought a few pieces of cloth, I was distributing them, then somebody brought some fruits, I was distributing them, Papa was watching me. He said, oh, you so much enjoy in distributing everything. One day you will distribute Ramdas also to everybody. He said jokingly. And she remembered that. She was literally distributing Ramdas to everybody, at least in the form of ashes. She was shedding tears remembering that. So she didn't want her ashes to be distributed. Though we kept in a vessel, we sent the entire ashes to Rishikesh to be immersed in the Ganges. That was the end of a glorious life. She was, after Papa's Samadhi, she was bent upon seeing that all the devotees came to the ashram, spent all their time in bhajan and Ramnam chanting. So continuous chanting of Ramnam was started in the Samadhi Mandir, right from 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening, in turns. And bhajan also increased here from early morning to 12:30 and again 3 o'clock to 9:30, so that devotees may keep themselves engaged in bhajans. And she did not want to take the position of a guru, but gradually she found it was necessary to assert and make the devotees follow the teachings of Papa. She never said they should follow her, but follow what Papa has said. If anybody asks anything to her about some spiritual matters, she would say, Papa had told me like this, so I am telling you what Papa had told. Don't think that I am teaching you. Many would say, you are our Guru. She would get angry. If you feel I am your Guru, you are not going to progress. Accept Papa as your Guru. Then they would question her, Papa and you are one. Yes, Papa and I are one. I am telling you, catch hold of Papa and not me. Then what is the difference? Difference is like this. She would say, she would show her hand. Papa is this, I am this. if Papa should catch you, he should catch you with this side. So if you hold on to me, you will be left. That was the argument she was giving. Though very convincing. So she never wanted anybody to take her as a guru. But all the same, she was able to, or rather many devotees were benefited by her contact and by getting advice from her about the problems on the spiritual path, how to solve them, etc. Papa had written these poems. They were translated into Marathi. Till then, nobody cared to read them or sing those poems. But she wanted to put some tune to each poem and sing them. They were now published as Prem Sudha, Marathi version of Bhagavad Papa's poems. And to make others take interest in it, she herself sang each and every poem. With great difficulty, she would ask some of the devotees who could guide her to sing with her, put some proper tune to it, and she herself sang in the bhajan hall. She had sung all those poems. Now they have come out in cassette form. Mother would be very, very pleased to see people singing those poems. She was often expressing that devotees who came to the ashram took things easy and did not make use of Papa's presence for their spiritual progress. If they had a little more vairagya and little more intensity in their sadhana, they would have reached the goal. But now Papa had left the body, they are stranded, they have to work by themselves. Then somebody asked, what about Mataji, you can guide them. No, I am not guide to guide, I am only a child of Papa. Whatever guidance you get is coming from Papa only. Even there, she did not take the position of a teacher. She wanted to remain a child of Papa, always. But at the same time, in certain matters, she asserted as a mother also. To say that she was a child always is not correct. She could say boldly, assert herself in certain matters and get things done.
Maybe 14th day function, Mataji.
14th day, yes. We had collected the ashes and had prepared a, copper vessel. Put the ashes in the vessel and had prepared the Samadhi as it was done for Beloved Papa. Mataji had mentioned that her body should be cremated in the usual cremation ground and no structure should be built in her name. She also added And I am telling all this, but I know you won't obey. So, to satisfy her, we made this Samadhi, Mataji Samadhi, a little smaller than the other one. So if you measure it, it will be about half a foot smaller than the other one, to satisfy her. And before her Samadhi, Swami Chidananji was to visit the ashram. He had planned to be here on the 14th of February, but Samadhi took place on the 12th. As soon as Samadhi took place, we informed Swami Chidananji and requested him not to cancel but to come. He came on the 14th and also promised that he would come on the 14th day, when the ashes were to be interred in the Samadhi. It was a good gathering, and that so many had come. Swami himself took leading part. So what you call copper urn, it is long, about 6 feet long, 1 foot wide, 1 foot high. The ashes were put in that. It was sealed and taken there in a procession. Swami himself, all together, all of us were also there. With chanting Ramna, we put the urn there, and a number of Ramna books also kept over that. And finally, with marble slabs, the Samadhi was sealed. What else you remember on that day? Anything else?
Ended in that way. It was ended in that way.
That was the end of the glorious life.